So I want to start off by saying welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're a fanatic of everything entertainment, then this is the channel for you. But in today's movie review, we'll be talking about this year's The Monkey. So let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Fuck you!
Jason, Mother is talking to you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
So before I get into it, I just want to talk about my awesome experience that I had watching this movie. I got to see it a week early before general audiences, and I got to see it with one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. This is the second time that I've met Cody Leach in person. As you guys may know, he is one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, and it was so awesome to sit down in the theater with him to watch this. I got to meet him at a fan get together when we saw Terrifier 2 and 3 at a double feature together, and I thought that was really cool, but I didn't get to sit beside him. I was in the aisle in front of him. This time it was just me, Cody Leach, my best friend, and we were all there and we were enjoying ourselves. And I thought it was, one of my favorite experiences at the theater, to finally sit down beside one of your favorite YouTubers of all time. It's always cool when that type of shit happens. But, anyways, today we're talking about The Monkey, which is Osgood Perkins' newest film after Longlegs. He does have a new film coming out later this year, which I didn't know about until after I was doing research for this movie, called The Keeper, or Keeper, one of the two, or Keepers, I forgot. But anyways, The Monkey. This was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and I don't know, man. I have to say right off the bat, I am mixed on this movie. Honestly, so far, I've only seen 7 movies this year, but it is my least favorite movie of the year so far. I am very high mixed to positive on it, but I did walk away severely disappointed with this, but it was an awesome experience nonetheless. So let's get into it. So with that said, let's get into the things I did like about this movie. I'm going to start off by saying the kills and gore effects in here. A lot of them are practical and a lot of them are CGI, but there's a lot of kills in here, like a lot more than you would think compared to Longlegs. There's only a few in Longlegs, but like this has a very, very high body count, which you can never go wrong with a high body count, especially in a horror film or a horror comedy. It always goes hands in hand whenever it has a high body count. It's the same with this one. There is some creative kills in here. The opening kill in here I thought was really cool. There's one involving a mailbox slash a for sale sign, which I never thought I'd see a day in my life. That is something I've never seen before, so I have to give the movie some credit. I've never seen that before. Like, this movie really does make you think of Final Destination, especially before we get into the story with the little brothers discovering the monkey, but like the opening kills and stuff are very, very heavy Final Destination vibes. I'm a fan of that. Like those, I was on the edge of my seat for every kill scene, being like, how are they going to kill somebody this time? What are they going to incorporate this time? Another thing I loved about this movie is the humor that went along with the kills. We'll get into the humor later on, but like the humor itself that involved the kills, those are some of the funniest things in here, especially in the way that this movie ends. Like the last shot of this movie really made me laugh, and then the opening kill made me laugh. There's a lot of kills in here that made me laugh, and there's some humor involving a funeral. There's some humor involving kills that I really loved, and I couldn't get enough of that. And then I have to say, I love Theo James as our main character in here, the main twin, Hall or Hal, whatever. I thought he did good with that role. I was a really big fan of it. You really grasp into his character. You know why he does the things that he does. Seeing his son once a year, you totally get it, especially with where the story goes and what led up to him being an adult. It totally makes sense. Another thing that I love about this movie is Elijah Wood in here. He's only in it for like a minute, minute and a half, but with his scene, it really did make me laugh because like Paul or Hal is like nominated as like the worst father of the year. Then you have Elijah Wood playing this stepdad that has like all these books written about being a parent, and I thought it was the funniest thing to me, dude. Also, there's a cast member in here that I did not know was in this movie, and I was like, he's in the opening scene in here. I was like, this dude's in this movie? Like, I did not see anything about this movie. Which we'll get into that. I only saw like a 45-second teaser trailer about this movie and it had me hyped. But with that said, let's move on to the things that I'm mixed on with this movie. Once again, I have to bring up the humor. Not the humor that involves kills or funerals, but like the one liners, the lines, the jokes. There is like a joke a minute in here. And like 60-70% of the jokes did not work for me. Or when someone's calling someone like a dipshit or something, they overdo that. But like I said, I mix on the humor because a lot of the humor that I did love involves deaths and funerals in here. And all the humor that I did not like is one-liners and jokes and names. Just not my thing. But I think this movie is made for more of a general audience. I think this is Osgood Perkins's most straightforward film. My friend was joking about that before the movie. He's like, I don't know anything about Longlegs. I don't know anything about this movie. From what you're telling me, it'd be really funny if this is his most straightforward movie. And it is. And I hate that in a way. I do hate that. But like, general audiences are going to eat this shit up, especially with the jokes and the one liners and stuff. They're going to love it because every joke in the movie landed for mostly everyone in the theater, except for me. So, with that said, let's move on to the negatives. So, the main thing I didn't like about this movie is the child actors in here. I don't care for any of them. And it's really weird because the actor that played Hal and Bill in the first opening 20-30 minutes, he was in Cocaine Bear, and I really loved him in that movie. This movie, I could really care less. He plays two roles in here. He plays Hal, the nerdy brother, and then he plays Bill, the popular kid at school that's a dick to his younger brother. You know, they're only like 3 minutes apart, but he's still a dick. I didn't care for him either. Like the performances weren't really that good. And then you have Hal's son in here. Not a big fan of him either. Like he's this angsty teenager that doesn't give a fuck about his dad. I mean, there's reason for it, but I don't care for any of the child actors in here. Okay? Another thing I don't like about this movie is Theo James as Bill in here. I loved him as Hal, you know, the nerdy brother, the main character, but him playing Bill, the other twin brother in here, just didn't really do it for me because I hate the character already. You know, they showed them as kids, but given they do have a very touching scene in the end, but it doesn't really pay off. You know, I don't know. I didn't like him. He does play up that role. He does ham it up, which I do have to give respect for that. But I didn't like him whatsoever in here. You know, and then you know, there's some other characters in here that you're supposed to care for, but they're pretty much just cannon fodder, like Hal's and Bill's mom, and then their uncle, and then their aunt in here. I didn't care for any other character that wasn't Hal in here. Like Theo James was great as Hal, but anyone else in here I didn't really care for. Like I said, Elijah Wood has his moment in here, but like none of the characters really sit well for me, and you can't really get behind a movie if there's not any good characters in here. And that's with these people as well. So with that being said, I'm going to be giving this year's The Monkey an overall grade of a 69%. When I came out of the theater, it was a lot lower, but the more I thought about it, you know, the more I enjoyed the humor that involved the deaths and the funerals, and that's the one thing that I took away from here. But I will say, there are some very tense moments, like leading up whenever you see the monkey beating on his drum. That was cool, but didn't really make the movie for me. I was severely disappointed because I loved Long Legs, but these are two totally different movies, okay? But with that being said, I just want to say thank you as always for watching my videos, and I hope to see you in the next one.